we gather together again. In case you've forgotten, today's topic is laughter. I am off of my soapbox today and I am open mic. So here we go. Many of you know that I am by profession an actor. And long ago, I was in a touring company production of If All the Stars Were Pretty Babies and I Was the Man in the Moon, featuring the Buffoon Mobile. I played neither of those title roles. It was an ensemble play with a lot of moving parts and many characters. Our last stop was in Philadelphia. All along the way, we were hosted by patrons and supporters of the theater. And in Philly, I was lodged for 3 weeks with John Gunderson. John gave me tours of Philly from the back of his motorcycle. He introduced me to Ingmar Bergman's Der Duve, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do. And one day over coffee, he told me his 5 axioms of life, which I have never forgotten, which is remarkable because half of the time I don't remember the reason I walked from one room into another. They are this: people always believe what they want to believe. Well, we know that because people have been creating God in their own image for millennia. People always do what they want to do. Now, I took issue with this because I know, and I'm sure you know, you've done things you didn't really want to do. But John explained to me that you did it because there was someone you didn't want to disappoint, or because something worse would happen if you didn't. So what you really wanted was not for those things to happen. And okay, now I can see that. This one we all know. It is easier to get forgiveness than permission. His last 2 were similar. If it is serious, it must be funny. If it's very serious, it must be hilarious. Now, I struggled with those also, but John insisted that if we didn't find humor in our most trying and darkest of times, the darkness would overwhelm us. And I started thinking about it. There's a movie called Money Pit. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but in it, the character played by Michael Keaton has bought a house that everything goes wrong at. And it's just one thing on top of the other. And finally, he's finally fixed his bathtub and it falls through the floor. And he looks into the hole and he laughs hysterically. I mean, for minutes. And I realized, okay, that's how he dealt with that situation. He's got to start all over, might as well cleanse everything by laughing. And even in horror films and action films, they always have moments of humor in them, because after that big gasp or the scary booga booga, we need to laugh to reset and bring us back to baseline before the next thrill or scare. There have been many essays, videos, even books about how very important it is to laugh. Even if you may not feel like laughing, perhaps that's the most important time. We've all heard the old sayings, laughter is the best medicine. Laugh and the world laughs with you. He who last laughs wins. Here are a few others. Quotes, Ben Franklin. Trouble knocked at the door, but hearing laughter turned away. Red Skelton, no matter what your heartache may be, laughing helps you forget it for a while. And George Bernard Shaw, and I like this one a lot. You don't stop laughing when you get old. You get old when you stop laughing. I love to laugh, especially if it's at myself, like when your bow tie you tried 3 times at home and it worked fine, just didn't work, you know, when you needed it to. And as you use, we are frequently the butt of jokes. I mean, Garrison Keillor had a trove of Unitarian Universalist jokes. Here are just a couple of examples. What is the Unitarian Universalist favorite Christmas music? Coincidence on 34th Street. Did you hear that the Unitarian Universalists have merged with the Jehovah's Witnesses? They knock on your door for no particular reason. We've even told jokes about ourselves. One of my favorite that just spontaneously came out once in a meeting was, if 5 UUs are on a committee, the committee report will have 6 different views. When asked what holidays do you observe, I've answered all the ones that involve food and drink. In that vein, I want to share with you a series of one-liners that I wrote for a UU pledge drive years ago in the Studio City Church. It's based shamelessly on Jeff Foxworthy's "You Might Be a Redneck" template. If you look at the hymnal and you don't recognize a single hymn, you might be a UU. If you could Tallis would look great with that new hat and pumps you just bought, you might be a UU. If you have ever fallen asleep during the announcement portion of your service, you might be a UU. If you have told your children that Mohammed had 2 brothers, Larry Hamid and Curly Hamid, you might be a UU. If there is a sign on your nativity scene that says, "It's a girl," you might be a UU. If the only time you have ever used incense is to cover up the smell of something illegal, you might be a UU. If you're a vegetarian, environmentalist, humanist, nudist, oh yeah, you are a UU. If you confuse dozing off in the middle of the homily with meditation, you might be a UU. If the only yarmulke you have ever worn had a propeller on it and you were 5, you might be a UU. If you've ever confused the story of Easter with Groundhog's Day, you might be a UU. If you bought it at a fellowship book sale, spilled wine on it at a open house, and then donated it to the next fellowship book sale, you might be a UU. If you think Mortal Sin is Gwyneth Paltrow's newest perfume, you might be a UU. And my personal favorite, if you have ever phoned the church office to find out who was the head of a committee and were told it's you, you definitely are a UU. So yes, we can laugh at ourselves, and we should. A study by the Mayo Clinic found that a good laugh has great short-term effects. When you start to laugh, as we've all laughed today, it doesn't just lighten your load mentally, it actually produces physical changes in your body. It can oxygenate your air. It can produce endorphins. It lowers your stress. And it can cause muscle relaxation. Perhaps that explains why they say, "I laughed so hard I fell out of my chair." They just relaxed out of it. But laughter isn't just a quick pick-me-up. It's also good for you over the long term. According to Mayo, laughter may improve your immune system. The body releases natural painkillers when you laugh, and it all makes it easier to cope with day-to-day problems. And it's known to alleviate depression. Laughter is something that is good for you, that requires no sacrifice, no dietary restrictions. Thank you. No exercise goals, again. No classes to take. But those are good things, obviously, but still, so is a good belly laugh, and it's free. So laugh when you can, and especially when you don't feel like you can. Call a friend. Ask them to tell you a joke. My friend Dan Morris who passed away recently, used to call me every week just to tell me a joke. And I always had one ready to tell him. We loved that banner. If a call can be made afterlife works though, doesn't it? Wow. I'm keeping that one, yeah. I would expect to pick up the phone one day and hear Dan's voice say, so Murray walks into a bar. Laugh. Keep laughing. Make someone else laugh, and you'll laugh with them. I challenge you all, when you go into Dobkin Hall after the service for our holy sacrament, or as we call it, coffee, swap jokes with each other. Make each other laugh. You won't regret it. I promise you. Laugh. Every day. Laugh.